Chapter 11, New Empire and Kingdoms. Okay, Arvind plays a king. Arvind has been chosen to act as a king in the school play. He had expected to march solemnly in splendid props to thriller his mortgage and while the silver paper wrapped sword with gusto. Imagine his surprise when he was told he would also have to sit and play veena and recite poetry. A musician's king who was that he wondered parastist and what they tell us. Arvind was supposed to be acting as a Samudragupta, a famous ruler of dynasty known as the Guptas. We know about Samudraguptas from a long inscriptions inscribed on the Ashokan pillar at Allahabad. It was composed at Kavya by Harisena, who was a poet and a minister at court Samudragupta. This inscription is of a special kind known as a parastis, a Sanskrit word meaning in parastis of, while parastis were composed for some of the rulers you read about in chapter 10, such as Gautami Putra Sri Satkani. They become far more important from the time of the Guptas. Samudragupta's parastis. Let's see what Samudragupta's parastis tells. The poet Pare said the king in glowing terms as a warrior, as a king who won victorious in battle, who was learned and the best of poets. He is also described as equal to the gods. The parastis was composed in very long sentence. Here is a part of one such a sentence. Samudragupta's the warrior whose body was most charming, being covered with the plenteous beauty of the marks of hundreds of scars caused by battle axes, arrows, spikes, spears, buried darts, swords, iron clubs, javelins, buried arrow, long arrow, and many other weapons. What does the description tell you about the king and also about how king fought wars? If you look at map, you will notice an area shaded in green. You will also find a series of red dots along the east coast, and you will find area marked in purple and blue as well. This map is based on the information provided in the parastis. Harisena describes for different kinds of rulers and tell us about Samudragupta's policies towards them. The ruler of Aryavarta, the area shaded in green on the map. Here there were 9 rulers who were uprooted and their kingdoms were made a part of Samudragupta's empire. The ruler of Dakshiniputta, here there were 12 rulers, some of whose capitals are marked with red dots on map. They surrounded to Samudragupta after being defected and he then allowed them to rule again. The inner circle of neighboring states, including Assam, coastal Bengal, Nepal, and a number of Ghana Sanghas. Remember chapter 6 in the northwest marked in purple on the map. They bought tribute, followed his order, and attended his court. The rulers of the outlying areas marked in blue on the map, perhaps the descendants of the Kushans and Sheikhs and the rulers of Sri Krishna Sri Lanka, who submitted to him and offered daughters in marriage. Find Pragya, the old name of Allahabad, Ujjain and Patliputra, Patna on the map. These were important centers of the Gupta's rulers. What was the difference between the way in which Samudragupta treated the rulers of Aryavatra and Dakshinapata? Can you suggest any reason for this difference? Genealogies. Most parasists also mention the ancestral stores of the rulers. This once mentions Samudragupta's great grandfather's father and mother. His mother Kumara Devi belonged to the Lichavi Ghana, while his father Chandragupta was the first ruler of the Gupta's dynasties to adopt the grand title of Maharaja Adhiraj, a title that Samudragupta also used. His great grandfather and grandfather are mentioned simply as Maharajas. It seems as if the family gradually rose to importance. Arrange this title in order to offer importance Raja Maharaja, Adhiraj Maharaja. Samudragupta's in turn figure in the genealogy list of ancestors of later rulers of the dynasty, such as his son Chandragupta's. We know about him from inscriptions and coins. He led an expeditions to western India, where he overcome the last of the Sheikhs. According to later belief, his court was full of learned people, including Kalidasa, the poet, and Aryabhatta and astronomer, about whom you will read more in chapter 12. Harshavardhana and Harsha Chitra. While we can learn about the Gupta's ruler from their inscriptions and coins, we can find out about some kings from biographies. Harshavardhana, who ruled nearly 1400 years ago, was one such a ruler. His court poet Banabhatta wrote his biography, the Harsha Chitra, in Sanskrit. This gives us the genealogy of Harsha and ends with his becoming King Xuanzang, about whom you read in chapter 10. Also spent a lot of time at Harsha's court and left a deleted account of his show. Harsha was not the eldest son of his father, but becoming king of Thaneshwar. About both his father and elder brother died. His brother-in-law was ruler of Kanuj, and he was killed by the ruler of Bengal. Harsha took over the kingdom of Kanuj and then led an army against the ruler of Bengal. Although he was successfully in the east and conquered both Magda and Bengal, he was not as successful elsewhere. He tried to cross the Narmada to march into the Deccan, but was stopped by a ruler belonging to the Chalukya dynasty. Pulkin look at map 8 and list the present day states which Harshvardhan passed through when he went to begin Bengal and up to the Narmada. The Palavas, Chalukyas and Pulkasinas, perhaps the Palavas and Chalukyas were the most important ruling dynasties in South India during this period. The kingdom of the Palavas spread from the regions around their capital Kanchipuram to the Kaveri Delta, while that of the Chalukyas was centered about around the recharged Doab between the rivers Krishna and Tungabhadra. Aihole, the capital of Chalukyas, was an important training center. It developed as a region center with a number of temples, another lands, especially attacking the capital cities which were prepossessed towns. The best to know Chalukya's rulers, the